Blizzard's many scandals, and this absolute gentleman right here has a neck beard, which means he most likely knows what he's talking about, let's be real, so his words will ring true to us.
As I tell you a tale, one held between the high heavens, known as Blizzard Entertainment when they make good games,
True,
and the
good
burning
games.
hells, known as Blizzard Entertainment the rest of the time. A conflict
Yeah.
that mortals like us are but another pawn in. A pawn to be exploited for money from a cash grab mobile game that even a treasure goblin would find too rich. A pawn to be ground up.
Now, here where he's already wrong. That game was made by a literal treasure goblin, okay? Bobby Kotick most likely sought an opportunity. Oh yes, another mobile game. You know what? I'm gonna personally involve myself in the development of the pay-to-win systems and money-grabbing part of it, at least.
Up and spat out by the meat grinder of poor game launchers. A pawn to be exploited for money.
Nice.
Again, but in a different way this time. These are the many scandals of the Diablo franchise. Let's be real, no matter how mad you get at Blizzard during this video, you're probably still going to buy Diablo 4 all the same. When you do,
true.
be sure to practice safe gaming with gamer subs. Probably shouldn't have picked the green flavor. Gamer subs isn't like those other energy drink brands. For example, they don't care if I just suddenly end the...
Interesting.
Hey guys, I just got chewed out by the brass over at Gamer Subs. Turns out they do care if I suddenly abrupt their Turns out they do care if I suddenly end their ads. I forgot to tell you guys about the amazing promo offer they've got right now. For 24 hours after this video goes live,
These cups... Ooh. These cups have major jugs. These cups are more like jugs. I'm kind of attracted to them for some reason. Don't know why, but maybe this is a good product. Not the actual whatever the hell this is, but the cups.
use my link in the description to get free shipping on any item on their store. That includes that free sample
Hey, we want to look at the cups, not whatever the hell this is.
packs. Doesn't take a genius to figure out how much that costs. It's free. It's $0. It's free. After that, the code will get you 10% off anything on their website.
Okay. Does that include a jug?
While Diablo's player base are usually the ones receiving the short end of the raw deal, even their developers aren't immune to a scandal. No, not that one.
That's a good one.
That's
a better one.
No, not this one. In 1993,
That's a better
studio
one also.
by the name of Condor was squirted into existence by David Brevik and the Super Schnafer brothers, Max and Eric. About 9 months before Condor was due to birth Diablo 1 into the world, Blizzard's then owners, Davidson and Associates, scooped up Condor and renamed it to Blizzard North, with the original Blizzard being nicknamed Blizzard South. Despite sharing the same name, these studios were effectively autonomous from one another, which worked great
makes
for
sense.
North. But things were about to take a turn for the Blurst. Blizzard is somewhat of a hot potato as far as gaming corporations are concerned, constantly passing hands to whichever company has the weakest harassment enforcement policies. You may have heard recently about how Microsoft was trying to court...
That's so on point. That is so on point. Bobby... It doesn't matter for Bobby, let's be real at the end of the day. Bobby's gonna get his yacht, Bobby's gonna get his second yacht, and at the end of the day, Bobby's gonna get his third yacht. We're just slowly trying to struggle our way like larvae crawling through the world while Bobby's just out there flying through it. And you know what? None of us can do anything about it, because gamers are too weak to actually boycott anything. You know, what's a gamer boycott gonna look like? People standing in Orgrimmar and saying, "Bleeding bad." Well, not even canceling their subscriptions. I'm sure Bobby does. I'm sure Bobby hates that.
The Darling Maiden, but this is far from the first time. In 1996, Blizzard North's owners, Davidson and Associates, were bought by CompuCard International, also known as CUC, which is going to be really hard to not make a joke about. CompuCard later merged with another company in order to form Sendit. Less than a year later, it was discovered
I did not
that
know
the
that.
CUCs at CUC had been cucking the books, lying about their profits, and overstating their income to the tune of $500 million. With this revelation, Cendant's stocks plummeted.
I mean, reasonable. Do you want to be rich or you don't want to be rich? You know, you gotta take some risks. No one's going to jail for that anyway, so, you know, it's not even a risk, honestly.
From $39 to less than $10 a share, costing shareholders $14 billion.
And they
which
got
is roughly
sued,
how much
probably.
money you need to max out a character in Diablo Immortal. Blizzard North's founders, who were paid in stocks instead of cash during their company's acquisition, could only watch in horror as their money went up in flames. The team trudged on, and Blizzard was once again passed around like a joint of weed at a marijuana party. This time to Vivendi Games. 2001 saw Blizzard North begin development on Diablo 3, and a sci-fi version that followed the Warcraft-Starcraft naming pattern by naming it Starblow.
Starblow. Seriously?
Diablo. Now, you might be wondering why Diablo 3 took 11 years to release if they began development in 2001. In 2002, Blizzard North management discovered that the company was, you guessed it, being put up for sale yet again. Much like Sneeko, the cuck incident weighed heavy on their minds, terrified of another botch sale that they had no say in. North founders Dave and the Schnafer Bros had a plan to ensure security for them and their staff. They decided they would threaten their resignation unless Vivendi gave them a seat at the negotiation table. Instead, Vivendi said, "Righto mate, see you later." And by the end of the day, they were escorted from the premises of—
Hey! That makes... Dude, if they're worthless, why do you think your voice matters?
the very company they founded. Blizzard South was now in control. And
that's
the mood
what
at
happens
North
when you go
immediately
public.
soured. It was announced that every employee at North would have a meeting with a manager from South in order to figure out who stays and who goes. Blindsided
Classic
by the loss
merger.
of the company's heads and the threat of losing their own jobs looming over them, employees at North became engulfed in office politics. When the guys left and it came time for our interviews and we learned that Blizzard South would be cutting some staff, everybody was out to save their butts. Anybody they had issues with, that was the time to stick it to them. I was like, I guess I should go talk to other people. That's when I realized how bad things.
Dude, this is such a classic thing. This happens pretty much on almost any merger. Because if two companies are merging, well, probably the company that is acquiring the other company, you know, usually there is an upper dog and a lower dog. The lower dog is not going to fare well because, well, there's a reason why they didn't do the acquisition but got acquisitioned upon. So, yeah, they're kind of lower quality, so a lot of them are going to be left out to dry. It's a beautiful time to see people just do insane things.
Were. The moment he stepped into the conference room turned artist lair, the pit went quiet. Rivero, Bowie, and the others glared at him until he backed out. For a second I thought, I'm going to try reach out to the people I know. Then I realized that everyone was making lists of people they wanted to see fired. It was like, wow,
nice.
This is the end. Employees discovered their fates, reality show style, by being directed to either the conference room or the kitchen. It was pretty depressing. Actually, when I walked into the room, I saw a certain person in the same room I was in, and I thought, yep, I'm gone. There's no way they're keeping him. Blizzard North was no more, and its remaining staff was shipped down to the Blizzard South office in Irvine. Almost all of the work that North had done on both Star Diablo and Diablo 3 was scrapped, which explains both Diablo 3's delayed launch and shift in design philosophy. David Brevik, one of the North founders, would later express his feelings about Diablo 3's turn.
I can't. Every time I hear the words Diablo 3, I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed. So disappointed, in fact.
Turbulent launch. He lamented how different the final product was than what they would have made, and how important it is to keep around talented folks who understand how the franchise works. Jay Wilson, the lead designer of Diablo 3, would respond, "Fuck that loser." Speaking of Diablo 3's launch.
Nice. Now that's the man. You gotta have someone who can
Diablo
take
was
action.
Always a single-player offline game with the option to go online if you wanted to join some kid's game and scam him out of his hard-earned gear. So when it was announced that Diablo 3 required a constant internet connection in order to cater for some features that nobody even wanted, people were not happy. Now, in a perfect world where globules of internet flow freely like grapes bouncing off the cleavage of a buxom wench, nobody would care. But this is not the world we live in, as much.
Actually, it kinda is. Like, let's face it, even back then, most people had, access to the internet. They just didn't want to be on the internet constantly, which is a fair argument, by the way. You kind of probably shouldn't be always connected to the internet, but the hell is this? Yo.
I've tried. I've been looking forward to Diablo 3 for a decade, and Activision has managed to squash all of my excitement with a single announcement. This game is now a non-purchase. I will enjoy Torchlight 2 heartily. All that crap sounds like a list of stinking shit I don't want, nor ever asked for, to be in the game. Not a single ounce of the in this list makes the single player experience better in any conceivable way. Fuck them. They don't get my money.
Well, on the other hand, Diablo 2 fans honestly don't matter. They just don't. Their opinion is irrelevant because they are so little at this point. And even at that point, they were so little, honestly. So, yeah. Diablo 2 fans who sticked around literally playing one game for 10-20 years, they're not going to accept anything but an expansion. No, not even expansion. An expansion would ruin Diablo 2. People like that would only accept a patch, maybe. A small, minor patch for Diablo 2. That's what they want. They don't care about another game. They're going to instantaneously just complain.
Of course, all these people probably went on to purchase it anyway, because the internet loves nothing more than an actionless boycott. They would regret that decision. Launch day rolls around like someone on my 600-pound life walking down a slight incline, and the shortfalls of an always online system become extremely apparent. Even those with impeccable internet were no match for the other 4.7 million gamers
Error37 at Gmail.
Simultaneously. Only to be bitch slapped with the now infamous Error 37. Now, unfortunately, we don't have time to go into a similar bug, Error number 34. So look up Diablo Rule 34 if you want more on that. Even if you made it past the Error 37
yeah, you probably should.
Dick first into a queue, regardless of whether you were playing single player or not. In typical Blizzard fashion, they vastly underestimated how many people wanted to play the sequel to one of the most beloved games of all time.
True.
And scrambled to keep up with the demand. Naturally, this drew the ire of millions of would-be players, who responded by making some very dated 2012 memes. Errors, queues, and issues continued.
Those were hot memes at the time, okay? Those were literally the memes. Man, how has time evolved the meme world, huh?
Over time, until supply was finally able to meet demand, and people could, at the very least, log in. However, you are still shit out of luck if you live somewhere with bad internet. So what was worth breaking your entire game over?
The real money auction house.
Oh, right.
Nice.
Another way to make money. Diablo 2 had a very crude trading system. You were able to open a trade window with another player, but only as long as you were in the same lobby as they were. This meant that, in order to trade items, you would have to start a multiplayer game, title it whatever you were trying to trade, wait for a player to join you, and then hope that they don't waste your time. Oh, and this was the method that was officially endorsed by Blizzard, by the way. Unfortunately, this meant that the multiplayer game selection mode was clogged up with people asking for trades, meaning players had to metaphorically pan for gold in order to find a lobby to, actually play the game. Gameplay problems were only intensified by D2JSP. This external, unofficial website was originally set up around
2K Forum Gold, what's up, baby? 2K Forum Gold literally can make a character anytime I please. What's up, baby? Also didn't actually buy it. I bought the Runescape. I went, you know how I got GSP Forum Gold? I went to the Runescape section and then checked out jobs that could be botted in situations where people said, do not bot this needs to be done by hand. Sure, bucko, sure. And I bought a bunch of jobs. Wood cutting, cows, a lot of things, baby. A lot of things were bought. Oh yeah, it was a great time. And that's how I got my Forum Gold to actually buy stuff. It was great. Also, I actually did the organ grind. I got a 3x3 pack of keys, and then I sold organs. Actually, pretty stable and good. And then obviously I ran a paladin bot like every reasonable person.
botting in Diablo 2, but later became the main trading hub for the game. Instead of trading in-game gold, players would exchange a currency exclusive to the website, known as Forum Gold. Forum Gold was purchased using real-life money, and became a way to trade real currency for in-game items. There was no way to actually cash out Forum Gold, however,
True.
meaning the only people to actually make any dough off this were the people running D2JSP.
I mean, you could actually probably sell Forum Gold to people lower than the JSP prices, but I never got into that. Again, I had only 2k gold or whatever, so not a lot, honestly. There were people with millions. Admittedly, as a kid, I did not know that you can even buy it. I didn't think that people are buying it, so I was like, wow, how much this guy needs to do that trading to get million? Wow. Yep, that was a life.
With Forum Gold now the preferred currency for Diablo trading, the actual in-game currency became near worthless and rapidly inflated in value. This took the power out of Blizzard's hands, as the game had been designed around a certain level of gold acquisition and spending, which were now completely irrelevant. This meant if you wanted to seriously gear out your little dude, you were either forced to turn to Forum Gold or bottom. Keen to not see a repeat of this in Diablo 3, Blizzard implemented auction houses that used both gold and real-life money. While this solved one problem, it conveniently spawned 15 more. Diablo 3 was now officially pay to win, as anyone with a fat...
Look at that, 211 buckaroos, boys. 50, 41, 58, 59 again. What are they saying? Lord Harm. Wow. Nice.
Enough wallet and poor budgeting skills.
I made some money off of this
power.
also.
Unlike in real life, where rich people have no real advantages. Now, this wasn't as bad as in other pay-to-win games, as Diablo 3 had almost no player versus player on launch, and their planned PvP modes were quietly pushed down an elevator shaft when...
I'll mention this again. Diablo has scrapped literally every single PvP mode they ever had. Blizzard is literally fundamentally incapable of making a functioning PvP experience in any game. Any game. Even World of Warcraft's not actually functional because everyone just breaks it with a one-shot after a week, a new one-shot. So nerfing doesn't do... Blizzard is horrible at PvP. So this is why Overwatch is failing, because Blizzard can't balance PvP and the whole game is based around PvP. Obviously it's garbage.
When nobody was looking. PvP is where paying for power becomes a real sticking point, as nothing feels worse than losing a match. Not because you were outplayed, but because you were outpaid. Instead, paying for power in a player versus environment game essentially saves you time. Except that time would have been spent playing a video game, which is meant to be fun. So you've essentially just paid money so that you don't have to have fun. I'm sure some people will argue that, oh, you're just cutting out the boring grind, but I mean, what do you think happens when you have the best gear in the game? Conveniently, Blizzard also takes a cut of every sale made on the real money auction house. Initially, these were meant to be
But was it actually a lot? Was it into like 2.5% or something? You'd think I would remember this, considering I did sell quite a few items for money.
Flat rate per item, instead of a percentage cut. Percentages really incentivize us to manipulate the system, and we don't even want the incentive to do that, much less actually do it. We expect it'll break even, lead designer Jay Wilson says. While equipment such as armor and weapons ended up having a flat fee of $1 per sale. Commodities like gems, materials and the like ended up having a 15% cut of the final sale price.
Man, there were some situations where people actually made so much money in the Diablo 3 auction house. For example, people who took advantage of... There were two really big things. One was the money squish or something like that, where if you had... Because you could sell like 1 million gold for... what I don't remember exactly what. Like 2 euros or $2 or something like that. And then they did a money squish or something like that, which essentially reduced to zero of the money you had. Which was insane, you know? Or increased it by a zero. I don't remember how it was, but if you took that if you took that advantage at the right time, because you knew that it's coming, you made off like a bandit. You know, when the perfect gems got changed, that there was added a new level or something like that. Also that, where people just bought out all of the existing gems, then upgraded them to the new tier, and it was BAM! Let's go, boys. Oh, people made so much money on that, who took advantage of those situations. It was brutal.
The Real Money Auction House was also one of the primary motivators behind the game's always online nature. This was to ensure that players couldn't hack or cheat the game while offline in order to spawn in powerful high-end items that they...
Oh, also there was a dude who got literally the best echo, whatever that weapon was called, and it was literally the best. There were no better rolls for that bad boy. And the thing is, if you went to the money auction house, you were capped at 250, okay? But in the gold auction house, you were not capped at 250 if you converted that after to money. You were capped at like something, I don't know, like 1k or 2k or whatever. I don't even remember if there was a cap. But the thing is, that person put the echo on there for 250 bucks. It got bought in a second, boys. It got bought instantly. And you know what happened after it? It got put on the gold auction house, and that person literally made a 4x return on investment. It was great. And I think even after that, someone else made a 2x return on their investment, which is insane.
They could then flip for a profit on the Real Money Auction House. But it turns out they wouldn't even need to, as the drop rates for powerful gear in Diablo 3's early days were so high that the Real Money Auction House found itself flooded with cheap, powerful gear. Well, I suppose this is preferable to the idea of a $50 sword. If you can just buy a full set of high-level gear.
My friend also ran in parties to farm stuff, and all of his gear was magic find. Motherfucker literally did not have a single piece of weapon equipment that actually did damage. He just ran with random people in the loot runs, and he had full magic find on, and no one ever noticed. The guy made some good money because magic find actually works.
For a few bucks.
Well,
I mean, why would you even bother trying to get it normally? To compensate, Blizzard then skewed the drop rate in the opposite direction, meaning it was now hard to get cool items for your character. In a game about getting cool items for your character. After 22 months, Blizzard decided to remove the Real Money Auction House, citing how it undermines the gameplay of killing monsters and getting cool loot. Something that players have been telling them ever since it was first announced. In the end, lead designer Jay Wilson estimated that the Real Money Auction House made between $10 to $15 million. Now, for a lot of game companies, that might sound like a lot.
But it's not.
For Blizzard, that's just their weekly breast milk budget.
True. Diablo Immortal. How many more parts are there?
Because it feels like Blizzard designed it with snarky YouTube videos in mind. This thing has just been a perpetual scandal ever since it was announced. At BlizzCon 2018, the first new Diablo game in years was rumored to be announced. A Diablo panel announcing what's next for the franchise was said to take place on the main stage immediately following the opening ceremony. This spot is usually reserved for major game announcements, and fans theorized that this would be none other than Diablo 4. So you can imagine the immense disappointment when this crowd of primarily PC gamers were treated to the announcement of Diablo Immortal, a mobile game. Now, you have to imagine just how awful your game is for your super fans who paid a pretty penny to be there and will clap at pretty much anything, are booing you on your own stage. One legend continued the BlizzCon tradition of wearing a red shirt and calling out the developers during the Q&A panel by asking,
"Is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?"
Legend.
Another asked if there were any plans to port Immortal to PC, which spawned this now infamous line.
No. Phones, baby.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
As Immortal clawed its way closer to release, skepticism amongst fans began to boil over. In order to develop the game, Blizzard teamed up with Chinese addiction developer NetEase, in the same way that bikie gangs team up with Chinese fentanyl distributors. NetEase is a company that doesn't so much produce games as a series of flashing lights that turns money into glimpses of serotonin for those with addictive personalities. Their previous game, Crusaders of Light, had top players spending upwards of 20 grand in order to be the very best,
Nice.
like no one ever was. Furthering fans' frustrations, it seemed as though Diablo Immortal was a reskin of another NetEase.
You know what's the best part about Diablo Immortal? Every single person who played this game, without bias by the way, said, you know what, it actually doesn't feel that bad, it doesn't play that bad, you know what, it's not the worst thing ever, it's kind of good actually. And then everyone just stopped playing it. Because while it was good, there was absolutely nothing special about it. I played it for 2 hours, and I quit. I just did not log in the next day, and then I completely forgot about it. And that's a lot of people, you know? No one said it's actually that bad. Well, because we didn't get to the part where, you know, spending money was that important. Because that's what smart games now do. They hook you in with actually decent gameplay for like 5 to 24 hours. And then cash out, baby. It's time to go to the bank and you're the bank.
Game. Endless of God. Man, can we just send like one English-speaking person over to Asia to tell these game companies whether or not their names sound fucking stupid or not? Maybe we can finally bring to justice whoever named the game Bravely Default. Skepticism reached an all-time high when it was discovered that Belgium and the Netherlands, in a complete Chad move, preemptively banned the game because of their strict laws on loot boxes. The game drops, and to nobody's surprise, the game is monetization hell. A shame too, because buried under all of the psychological manipulation is actually a half-decent Diablo game. Besides throwing out every creepy, money-hungry trick in the book, the game also milks its whales worse than any other mobile game.
Beautiful.
And that's saying something. In order to completely max out a character, it was initially estimated that you'd have to spend around $100,000. Of course, no one's forcing you to spend.
And the best part is transmog is not even account-wide. If you make a necromancer, you buy a transmog, you make another necromancer, congratulations, you need to buy another transmog.
Money. You also have no obligation to max out your character, but what, you're just gonna finish the story mode and then move on to another game?
No.
Like a fucking weirdo? These massive figures are primarily based on legendary gems. One of the key ways of increasing your character's power at max level. Gems are rated out of 5 stars. And on top of that, there's a secondary rating system for 5-star gems, which again goes up to 5. So the best gem you could find is a 5-star, level 5 quality gem. In order to get these gems, you have to run Elder Rifts, which are short randomized dungeons. Of course, you can't just expect to run a dungeon for free. So without spending real money on a legendary crest, your Elder Rift will never drop a legendary gem. Even if you do spend real money, there's only a 4.5% chance of getting a 5-star legendary gem for every legendary crest purchased. And then on top of that, a 1% chance of that 5-star gem being a level 5 quality one. That means for every legendary crest purchased, there's a 0.045% chance, or 1 in every 2,222 runs, of getting a perfect gem. Each
Wait, maybe he's gonna say it.
crest costs 160 of the game's premium currency, which is around $4.50 Australian. So assuming you have the worst luck in the planet, which you probably do if your brain's willing to let you spend this much on a video game, that would be around $10,000 per perfect gem. Oh, but it doesn't end there. You also have to level up your gems. To do this, you need duplicate legendary gems and gem power, which you can get from salvaging unwanted
Okay, he's not gonna say the thing. And if you were afraid to play player, how many of these crests did you get per week? 20-ish maybe, or something like that. So if you're getting 20 gems, 20 of these things, I think they later up buffed it to like 30 plus or something like that. But that's still. So let's say even if it's 50, if you get 50 of these crests, that's still 1 week, 2K. What is that? That's 40 weeks. That's 40 weeks, and I don't think they buffed it. The initial estimates were something like, well, it's gonna get you. It's gonna take you literally a year of playing until you see your first legendary gem. That was good stuff.
Legendary gems, or you guessed it, purchased from the store. In order to level your gem up to level 10, the max level, you would need 74 legendary gems and 4,450 gem power. You would then need to do this 6 times For the 6 pieces of gear
The
that you can
10-year
put gems into,
calculation.
initial estimates put this at around $100,000 with average luck in order to fill all 6 slots with perfect gems. Oh, what, do you think that was all? There's
No.
more. It turns out Blizzard added in a secret surprise mechanic just for whales. Upon leveling your gem up to max level, which is no small feat in itself,
Oh yeah, there
you were then
was
given the
something
option
extra.
to awaken the
Yeah.
gem. This allows 5 additional gems to be superglued onto the original gem. While these additional gems don't need to be 5 stars in order to get the
That's
maximum
great.
benefit, they still need to be leveled up to 10 the same way as the rest. Now, if you think this is needlessly confusing for no discernible reason,
It's fine.
you're right. Mobile game developers use strategies such as these to obfuscate power and muddle the value of purchases, so that $50 pack seems more valuable than it really is. Although, let's be fair, no amount of smoke and mirrors should be able to convince you that $10,000 is a reasonable amount of money to spend on a video game, let alone a single item in a video game. So you're probably thinking, oh, this is surely just wishful thinking on Blizzard's part. Nobody's
Nah,
going to spend
it worked.
6 figures in order to be the best at the worst version of Diablo.
You
Nope.
think they would
At
do it
least one
without
content
knowing it
creator
works?
did exactly that. It turns out having a character that powerful means the game can't find anyone of equal power to matchmake you against, rendering
Yeah,
his
that's good.
uber-powerful juggernaut unable to flex the fortune he'd invested in it. The uproar around this was overwhelming. Content creators and
Dude, Quinn got in the news just for spending like 3k or 10k or whatever. What a letdown. This guy spends 100k and he's not even in the news and barely anyone knows about it. Quinn, 68, spends 3 or 5 or 10k and gets in the news. What a time to be alive.
Diablo fans lined up to kick Diablo Immortal in the head out the back of a pub in New Hampshire at 2 a.m. But if pop culture boycotts and political results are anything to go by,
It
what
didn't
people
do
complain about
anything.
online versus what the casual majority engage in are often 2 completely different things. Despite being review bombed on Metacritic to the point that it's now the lowest rated user score ever, it still has a
That's great.
respectable 4.6 stars on both app stores.
Yeah, the Apple App Store, it's actually slaying there. But what did you expect?
Not only that, but in the game's first 5 months, it reportedly made over $300 million in microtransactions, which makes you wonder why anybody bothers anymore. All the while, an objectively
True.
better version of the game, like Diablo 2 or 3, still exists, and last I checked, you don't have to spend $100,000 to be good at it. Well, at least
Maybe you
Immortal
do.
worked at launch. Diablo's not the only
That's actually true. Anyway, absolutely great video. What do we have? Many kudos. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. What the hell is this? Beef, boys? No, thank you. Oh, jeez. Ugh. Okay, let's not look at that for too long. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and have a nice day. Bye-bye.